We're heading to the Beqaa Valley, and as you can see on the Lebanon mountain range, it's a very foggy day. We are going to a new museum that Hiz-b-ullah has opened, where they exhibit weapons that they have used previously in battles against the Zionists. We just passed the Dahr al-Baydar checkpoint at the top of Mount Lebanon range, and now we are descending towards the Beqaa Valley, which you can see at the bottom of this picture. The fog has let up, and we're gonna have a smoother ride now. See you soon. We're at the new Hiz-b-ullah Museum, where the Hizb is displaying many of the weapons that it had captured or destroyed in various wars against the Zionist colony. This is a Patton tank that, as you can see, has been hit either by a mine or a ATGM. And also on display in this museum are some of the weapons that Hiz-b-ullah has used previously, including in the current war for the liberation of Palestine that started in October 7th. And we'll do this tour quickly. We're in the middle of the Beqaa Valley. You can see the Beqaa Valley there. And as we go in the museum, we'll explain some of the things that you'll be seeing. Here is a more clear view of the buildings of the museum and the weapons that are being showed. So Hadi, we are in the Beqaa Valley. The Beqaa Valley is very famous globally, not because people visit it, although they should. Look at this beautiful nature, but because the Western media talk about the Beqaa Valley so much when they're talking about Lebanon. Give us a little bit of background why the Zionists and the Western media concentrate so much on the Beqaa Valley.
Well, first, I guess that it's because it's historical importance. In 1982, when the Israelis invaded Lebanon, they had a plan to invade Beqaa Valley and to occupy it. Of course, they would be very happy to occupy such land that can be very useful in agriculture and in everything.
And also, it's the main road between Damascus and Beirut. Right behind us, right here, are the Qalamon mountains, and right behind it is Damascus within,
The geopolitical importance of the Beqaa Valley.
The valley of the god, the sun god.
We have the Beqaa Valley located between the mountains, the western
Mount Lebanon
chain and the eastern Mount Lebanon chain. So right now we are close to the eastern chain.
We're at the foothills of the Qalamon.
When we talk about radars, for example, this is perfect for doing things without being noticed on radars, because you can't only if you had radars flying over you or satellites. But the ground radars, they can't, for example, no signal can reach this Beqaa Valley from this side or from the other side. So, for example, you have to have a radar that is based maybe on in a very high mountain in Turkey, for example. to reach.
To look into the Beqaa Valley,
Yeah.
From the north of Syria.
So it has lots of importance in terms of military and security, but mainly the historical importance. In 1982, the Israeli army couldn't invade the Beqaa Valley. It was stopped by the Syrian army, not by any resistance movement.
And it was a very famous battle.
It was a very, very famous battle. It was a tank battle and an anti-tank weapon battle. The Syrian army used RPGs, and debatably it was tandem RPGs that destroyed the Merkava tanks in the Sultan Yacoub. Because of this, the Israelis decided not to invade, not to continue the invasion. They retreated, and they kept their locations on some of the hills of the
foothills of
the western Mount Lebanon.
And just to say also, in this battle, it was the biggest helicopter also battle.
It was also a fighter jet battle.
Yes, and again the Israeli lost the highest number of...
Ron Arad was, for example, downed and captured in one of these battles against the Syrian army, for example.
And of course, if the Syrian army didn't intervene then and didn't succeed in
all
blocking,
of Lebanon would be invaded and occupied.
And they would probably be on the doors of Damascus.
Exactly. So this is why the Syrian army had a red line of, he said, Hafiz al-Assad then said that there is no way I'm letting the Israelis occupy the Beqaa Valley or the eastern chain, and even the eastern side of the western chain, because this is Damascus security.
Yeah.
What happened here later on is that because this area was liberated and wasn't occupied by the Israelis, it was used by the resistance to exercise and to train fighters and to send them, and later as a headquarter for the resistance, FR headquarter. They had headquarters and they had fighters in the south, but here it's very more freely. They can exercise, they can practice on weapons and everything. This is why this area was very important in the process of liberation of South Lebanon. So when we say South Lebanon was liberated, you can read, for example, who were the martyrs in South Lebanon during 18 years of fighting against the Israelis and resisting. Many of them, maybe half of them, are from the Beqaa Valley. This unity in Lebanon. This is what makes the people of the Beqaa Valley and the people of South Lebanon, to this extent, unified, and and this is why mainly the people of the Beka are target of many propaganda and campaigns, and
of course this is the reason that it is not supported financially by projects and so on of development, because if the people here are even more developed, imagine how much more resistance they have.
Exactly, and you can see how much the nature is very beautiful, and how much you have green spaces, and also how much you have monuments like the Baalbek. Baalbek is one of the most important Roman places outside
it's not even Roman,
Europe.
It's a Canaanite. Don't let the Italians and the Romans think that they built anything here.
You think it's Canaanite?
Of course, it's Baalbek. Okay, it's the house of Baal, the godfather in the Canaanite pantheon, and then the Greeks came and turned it into a Greek temple, and then the Romans came and so and in fact, the Greek gods and the Roman gods are just cheap copies of the Canaanite gods. Okay. It's a bastardization of the Canaanite gods. So look, it's
great discussion.
This is a great discussion.
Definite theme,
This is the Beqaa Valley. Baalbek, the valley that stood the invasion, and the valley that still is the backbone of the resistance in the south, and giving it the support. They have the back of the people in the south.
Yeah, and sorry for interrupting, but even in 2006, the Israelis, you asked me for why they hold a grudge against the Beqaa Valley and against Baalbek. In 2006 war, they had an airdrop nearby the hospital. They tried to go there to see if the missing
POWs,
the prisoners
captured.
of war, the 2 soldiers, if they were there. It then turned out that it's a trap by the resistance, and they retreated.
So the resistance, will leak them false information
Exactly, and
to attract them to the hospital and to, ambush them there.
And later also, after the 2006 war, and this I remember because it was a commanders operation in the Beqaa Valley, and it was after 2006 war, I guess 2007 maybe. 2 helicopters landed on a place on this mountain, on the western chain, and they landed there with a unit that drove 2 SUVs that resembles the one used by the Lebanese army. They tried to infiltrate this place that is, a place for Hezbollah mainly, and Hezbollah people. They had some special operation they wanted to do. Hezbollah was able to discover that they did this airdrop there and the unit, and they had a battle with it. And one of the most important security he was, I guess, a general or
In
something.
Hezbollah.
No, the Israeli
The
one.
Israeli.
Yeah, he died there.
Okay.
They even didn't mention his name at first. I don't know if they later published it, but he was a very secret officer.
A brigadier general,
Yeah, a brigadier
of
general.
special forces.
Exactly.
We have some tanks here that Hezbollah is displaying. Some of them older, like this one, and some of them much newer, like this tank. Why do you think Hezbollah is displaying tanks? We haven't seen Hezbollah use tanks in any battle with the Zionists on Lebanese territory. We saw them use tanks in Syria. Why do you think they're displaying these tanks?
Well, mainly this is the first time that Hezbollah declares that he owns tanks, and not like very old tanks. Some of these tanks, like the Lebanese army, don't even have anything comparable to it, for example. So we have seen the T-80 and the T-72 and many others. So mainly these Russian tanks were used in Syria against the ISIS and al-Nusra and other terrorist
Wahhabi death
groups.
squads, yeah.
Yes. It's highly unlikely that Hezbollah will use any of these tanks against Israelis. Mainly because the weak point of the Israelis against Hezbollah is that they cannot move only inside tanks and when they are sheltered. But Hezbollah and the resistance forces, they have the freedom of moving, even if the Israeli...
Because of their guerrilla tactics and so forth.
Exactly.
Yes.
So even if the Israeli decided to invade, for example, and tried to, the freedom of movement is for the resistance forces and for resistance members. Like they move in a group of 1 or in group of 2 to not let the Israeli target.
We
for
also
example,
saw
many,
the Hezbollah do
members.
that exercise that they opened up to the international media just less than a year before.
Using
September 11.
motorbikes.
Yes, motorbikes, ATVs, very versatile.
Exactly.
And right now we're standing in front of the T-72.
Yeah.
Clearly from these images, it was used in Syria.
Exactly.
And this is the first brigade, Hiz-b-ullah, for Hezbollah. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So now they
So
have...
they are saying that we
actual-
have many
Yes.
brigades.
Yes, many brigades.
Yeah.
Let's continue walking.
Yeah.
I mean, we see here howitzers. We see howitzers there. We see old tanks on the other side. We see jeeps, APCs.
It's a
of different-
73, 57, I guess, and 155 millimeter cannons.
Okay, so what do you think? The Hizb is displaying a lot of things.
Yes.
But you feel there's something that we are not seeing here, something that's missing.
Oh yes, definitely. I wasn't expecting that Hezbollah will show any of his accurate missiles here, because it is the strategic weapon that everyone's talking about. Even the Americans are talking about it when they say that we can reach any agreement of Hezbollah if he agrees to drop his accurate
Guided missiles that they have.
guided missile project.
Yeah.
Of course, Hezbollah mentioned that it's not a project anymore. It's like they have the missiles that they need in any war.
Yes.
The amount of accurate missiles that is needed is already there. This is, I guess, why Hezbollah is able to publicly show all these weapons. This is a small army, for example. And some countries will consider this an army.
Yeah.
So
look at that. You know, here there's even boats,
boats.
speedboats. I mean, you know, up in the mountain, speedboats up in the mountain. But of course, they have real ones on the on the waters, on the Mediterranean waters. This is been a.
Of course, you have to say that all of these weapons are functioning. We can see them, see the people how they are making sure that every tank and BMP and all of others are functioning. It was surprising to see, for example, this tank functioning.
Oh yes. So the mechanics, as we see here, they're testing the engines, they're running them.
Yeah.
So yes, every weapon in this museum could be used
yeah, exactly.
in a desperate moment. But of course, Hezbollah has much more than this, and has it already for a possibility of a war. Hopefully, the Zionists have learned the lesson until now, and they will not risk a full-out war with Hezbollah. But then again, with the lunatics that are in power in the Zionist colony and in the West, nothing is impossible. Thank you, Hadi Hotait, for doing this tour with us. We appreciate your expertise.
Thank you.
You're watching Free Palestine TV. We're at the Hezbollah Museum of Weapons, and we did you a nice tour. Please go to our website, freepalestine.video, donate, so we can continue doing this work for you, all the programming, all the special reports from the front. See you soon.